Welcome, everyone. My name is Susan Allan, and I am so thrilled to have you with us today because today we finally have Dr. Jon Harmon back with us, and we have Marci Preble as well. So let me tell you about Dr. Jon Harmon. He has been a chiropractor for 32 years. He is the founder of Clear Mind in Idaho. And what is most wonderful to those of us on this Zoom today is that about 2 years ago, he discovered Lifewave patches. He began to understand the scientific reality of what they do for us. And he's been recommending them to his patients, to his friends, to his family, using them himself. And we're going to learn all the reasons why today. So welcome, Jon.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I appreciate that. And it's my pleasure today.
This is so exciting. So exciting. And today we also have with us Marci Preble. Marci is the most successful Lifewave distributor in the US and also the nicest person in the whole world. The most loving, kind, supportive person on the planet Earth. So welcome, Marci.
Wow. Susan, I'm coming to your show every month with that. Oh my goodness, you just made my day. It's nice to see you too.
And you know, I have to thank everybody for spending my birthday with me today. And there's nothing I'd rather do in my life than do something about Lifewave and share it with people. And these two guests and Jeff Wheeler, who is the tech expert, are among the most wonderful people. And of course, with Lifewave, you keep having your brain function, you keep having your sense of humor because you've got a great disposition as you watch those stem cells repair and restore your body, right? So today, Jon is going to focus and Marci's going to focus on two of the patches. We're going to focus on the X39, the primary stem cell patch, and we're going to focus on the Glutathione, which is the detox patch. So here we go. So tell us, Jon, if you would, about the X39 stem cell patch, the science and the results, please.
Well, in telling you about the stem cell activation patch technology, it applies to all of them. And so it'll be the foundation of both this one and the glutathione. And once your listeners understand the technology, most of them will probably think like I do, that this is one of the most brilliant biohacks in our history, where the only patch, the only photobiomodulation system or product or unit that actually uses the body's own energy to power the unit, power the patch. So you see it on the screen, you see this little round Band-Aid-like thing. And there are several things that had to happen in order for David Schmidt, the founder of Lifewave, to be able to create this patch. Number one, he had to figure out what photons are our bodies emitting into our surroundings. As you sit there right there and listen, your body is giving off energy, and it's in the form of what we call bioluminescence. Those are different frequencies. There's far infrared, near infrared. David Schmidt figured out what those are. And then the next step, how could I use portions of that if I could get it back into the body to turn on different pathways? And then he figured out the next step, what do I need to combine in this patch to form a new crystal structure to reflect back that frequency into the body to turn that pathway on? He he intentionally figured out which frequency it is that elevates a certain peptide that you're going to see on this next screen, that in a secondary way turns on our stem cell factory. That was the patent that was granted to Lifewave, was that Lifewave proved that wearing the patch elevates the peptide called the GHK-Copper peptide. You see on this slide, in 1973, Dr. Laurent Picard actually discovered that peptide. And this is what happened. They put old liver cells in a petri dish and put the GHK-Copper peptide in there. It reversed the age of the liver cells. It turned back the clock on those liver cells, and they started making enzymes and proteins like young liver cells. So they thought, well, there must be something to this. So all of this research, go to PubMed, go to National Institute of Health, go to Dr. Laurent Picard's website, which is Reverse Aging with GHK, and you'll see what that peptide does. So here are a couple of them. You get rapid wound healing when you have an increased amount of that peptide in your bloodstream. You get collagen repair and collagen destruction. And people will usually ask, well, why would you want to destroy collagen? And it would be scar tissue. Scar tissue has cross linkages that make it inflexible. And the GHK helps destroy those cross linkages so you have more flexible skin rather than the adhesions that form around scar tissues. Here's the biggie though. Our body uses the GHK-Copper peptide to repair just under 4,200 of our genes. So about a third of our genes get repaired. And this is why, in my opinion, some people will wear the patch for 4 or 5 days and they'll have this, it seems like a miracle, or it seems like they're telling me about a dream they had. They'll have something happen. And I think what happens is the gene stopped coding or working, and then all of a sudden it's repaired and it starts doing something that their body couldn't do before. And it seems like an overnight miracle. So it's kind of like, you look at it, it's like tuning a piano. You could have a grand piano on the stage, and a concert pianist comes out and tries to play the piano. Well, if they're out of tune, it doesn't matter how good he is. So you have to look at the GHK as it's repairing genes so that they can play the body, so to speak, in turning on these different pathways when needed. As far as that GHK-Copper peptide, here's Lifewave got the patent that, because it proved, I didn't do it, but it proved that it gets elevated in the bloodstream by wearing that patch. When you go to Reverse Aging with GHK, you're going to see 6 categories. Only one of them has to do with stem cells. You have different categories that include things like for brain, for skin, hair and nails, anti-cancer. Here's one of the slides right here. So you see skin and hair.
Wait, we're going to do that in a moment, John. So
okay.
we're keeping to a very tight schedule. So
I see the
everything
that I think that's a hint.
everything that you want to talk about, we'll be able to do within the limits of today. But what we're going to talk about next then, which is about skin and hair. And Marci, I know that you personally have had some amazing skin and hair results. So before John talks about the specifics of that, tell us about your experience so that people watching can really understand that this is real, it's not just science, and that every one of us has our own amazing result. Okay, honey?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was actually talking to my girlfriend on Zoom, and we're good friends. And she's one of those girls that just always looks good. You ever have that one girlfriend that's just so good looking? That's my friend, right? It's so unfair. And we're talking, and she's like 5 years younger. And her husband comes walking up behind her. We're on Zoom, and he takes a look again. And Brian never compliments me, you know? He goes, "Oh my God, your face looks good. What are you doing? Are you doing Botox?" And I said, "No, I'm not. It's stem cell, it's X39. And what I told him is that the stem cells, this is what's cool. The stem cells turn into whatever cell your body needs for repair. They're changeable. They're really changeable. They turn into whatever you need for repair, just like when you're 20. So when, like John says, when those stem cells are activating, all of a sudden you start repairing like you're young. And I have noticed your collagen comes back. You get like that. tight chin. I don't know, like that turkey neck, that we used to get, that goes away. I mean, you glow. There's something going on. And I told him, just like I told my girlfriend, hey, when you were 20, did you have gray hair, Brian? He goes, no. I go, when you were 20, did you have wrinkles? He goes, no. I go, when you were 20, did you hobble around like you do now? He goes, no. And I go, that's stem cells, baby. I'm 20 again. That's why I look good. And what's really funny about that is, if some of you knew that I've been on my third reoccurrence of breast cancer in the skin, and my skin should look bad, but it doesn't. I've been back in remission for a year now, and my skin looks good. So thank you for asking.
Thank you. Okay, so Jeff, if you would put up the slide that includes the skin and hair benefits, and Jon, you can talk about that as well as the other aspect in a moment later, which is the anti-cancer benefits.
Yeah, and I have to say that we're not making any cancer claims or purporting to treat any disease or cure diseases or anything like that. However, and this is not from Lifewave, the company, this is on Dr. Lauren Picard's website. And if you read this, anti-cancer properties, it topped 1,309 bioactive compounds as the number one recommended molecule for the treatment of metastatic colon cancer. I get texts all the time from people in Lifeway, because I do some of the science calls and things, and they ask me, what should this person do for cancer? And I always say, well, we don't do it for cancer, but we wear it, and it has these properties. And so, you have alternatives, the traditional thing, or, just assist your body to take care of it itself. We're not treating cancer or any other diseases. But these things right here, you look at pre-programmed death. Our body targets 50 to 70 billion cells a day for death because they're sick, they're dying, they're cancerous, something's wrong with them. And it goes around to tagging them to kill. And it's called apoptosis. Well, in cancer cells, that shifts and they don't die off. The body keeps multiplying. The GHK-Copper peptide resets that apoptotic cycle of cells don't just keep multiplying. They have a lifespan and then they die. And that's part of that whole thing. Repair damaged DNA at the cellular level. All kinds of things. And this skin and hair, Marci was talking about, it firms it up. And, I posted a picture from our Mexico trip, and everybody, like 200 or 300 people wrote back and said, "Whoa, you guys look so young." And I said, "Well, it's stem cells." So it's been a really great benefit for me. Sometime I might be able to tell you about the heart things that happened. One of them within just the last 2 months. I
think you should, because in the previous show you did for us last year, you told us what had happened to you, and then the fact that your own heart cells had to get back into coherent functionality because they were healed. So why don't you just give us the update on that, please?
So a little bit of a recap. I had PVCs my whole life, which stands for preventricular contraction. What that feels like to a person, it feels like your heart stops for a second. And you start to get uncomfortable if it happens really close together because you're getting you're not getting as much oxygen. I had those my whole life, and then I started using the patches. And I put one on the back of the neck like we're instructed to, but I put one right over my heart where I felt like they were happening. And then at about 4.5 months, it seemed like it got worse because they were every fifth beat. Like clockwork, day, night, all through the night, every fifth beat. So I was getting less oxygen. I'd wake up gasping for air. And I had a knee replacement surgery from being a crazy skier and breaking my leg and setting things in motion. And I thought, man, I gotta go to the cardiologist and get it tested. Did a stress echo. The cardiologist comes in and he says, your heart did great. You from the looks of it, you have 0% chance of ever having a cardiac event. I said, well, that's cool. Well, he said, you just have these PVCs and this right bundle branch block. And I said, well, what causes those? And he said, well, we get these apoptotic cells in our heart, and you can't replace them fast enough because the heart's beating all the time. And I thought, this is what happened. This is my own idea. Nobody told me this. I said, those cells are growing back because of the stem cells, and they don't know how to beat that. And they're all beating at the same time. 2 weeks later, that whole thing went away. Fast forward to about 3 months ago. Long story short, I had a root canal that I never wanted. I was under conscious sedation. It got infected. I had an abscess tooth that ate clear into my sinus, and I had to have 2 different surgeries. And so they made me go do the stress echo again because the previous condition or with the heart. Here's what the doctor said. Wow, that right bundle branch block is gone. I've never seen one of those go away. So 2 things. PVCs, right bundle branch block. I'm almost 70 now. Those are very, very important things, and it goes right along with one of my other goals. One has to do with the heart. One has to do with the brain. I want to know who I am when I'm old, and I don't want to be meeting a new person every 15 minutes in my house, which is going to bring up one of the next categories in a bit, I think a couple of slides down the road, about brain things. So that's the story of my heart. The doctor has never seen a right bundle branch block go away. Do we cure right bundle branch blocks? I don't know. Mine is not there anymore.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have that update from you. And, if I invited people to speak about all the things that their doctors commented on were gone, disappeared, problems.
Right.
We wouldn't and I think I can get like 150 people on this Zoom because it's a private Zoom. We would not have enough space for all the people I know, let alone the 15,000 people Marci knows who have all had crises and parts of their body radically, miraculously, inexplicably healed, right? And I am now swimming a half mile a day, a half mile at my age.
Wow.
I'm swimming 86 laps a day. I don't have to stop to breathe. I used to swim 66 laps a day, and I had to stop to breathe a lot, often, frequently. So, send me, via email, all your remarkable experiences, and I will make sure that we share it with everybody. And now Marci, because I know Marci's leaving for a trip, she's leaving for Boston to speak about Lifewave to a whole group there. If you would talk about how people can actually purchase these patches, that would be fabulous. And then we'll get back to Jon.
Absolutely. And I just want you to know, Dr. Harmon, I met you 2.5 years ago, and you look 20 years younger. I would have put you in your mid-50s today. Like, I'm not kidding. It's different. You just look different. It's weird. It's like these stem cell activation patches, they work for normal people like me and even doctors. Wow. Okay. So here we go. So how do you get these? Well, this is the X39, and it's pretty simple. You can get it retail for $149. That's a month's supply. And in case you don't know what they look like little Band-Aids. But once again, there's so much more. The crystal inside is a wearable light technology. And when you put it on your skin, the infrared low-grade light of your skin reflects back a light wave to activate these stem cells. So this is, once again, a 30-day supply. You wear it 12 hours on to activate and repair and 12 hours off. It's pretty simple. You can wear it right below the back of your neck or under your belly button. If you want to wear more than one, I know doctor's going to talk about glutathione soon. Here's my new way to wear them. I wear them under my belly button. You ready? Like a crystal belt. How do you like that? Oh, it's cool. The crystal belt. So anyway, and that's because under your belly button is the belly of your immune system. It's a great place to put them all. But sometimes I find we have so many cool patches. People are like, where do I put them? I'm telling you, I do a crystal belt now, and it's great. You can wear them during the day or at night. It doesn't matter. Just 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So back to $149 retail. You can become a preferred customer and ship every month for $119. Or I like the silver kit for $299. You can get 3 X39s. That's a 3-month supply. That's enough for yourself, your family, and even some to share. But wait, what's really cool is 1 X39 is equal to some other supportive patches. So if you want to try some of our other supportive patches like X39 and Glutathione or whatever doctor's going to talk about, know that you could get an X39 and 4 other supportive patches in that silver kit for $299. That's a good deal, Susan. And then you go on auto ship the following month with 1 X39 to keep your stem cells activating. So if you want to order and you came to this call, just get with the person who brought you here and tell them what you want. So with that, Susan, let's go back to the doctor.
And thank you, Marci, and bon voyage, safe trip. We all love you so much.
Lots of love to you.
Okay, Jon. So what we want to talk about next, and I gave you a little intro with my swimming miracles, is the next slide, Jeff, which is about lung protection and antioxidant and anti-inflammatory support. So if Jon, you can start talking about that as Jeff will upload that slide.
Absolutely. And in this current time in our history where there is concern about something that affects our lungs, if you look where, this is from Dr. Picard's website, Reverse Aging with GHK. Again, that same broad institute that tests things like this recommends the GHK-Copper peptide as the #1 bioactive compound to treat COPD. So you can get from that glutathione, this is the GHK-Copper peptide, but then when you add glutathione in with this that we'll be talking about, glutathione is very lung protective in and of itself. It is our master immune switch. It is the master antioxidant. And on this same page, you see antioxidants. So you have, and this is referencing the GHK-Copper peptide, it is also antioxidant in nature, and it turns on some antioxidant activity. SOD is called superoxide dismutase, and it is you can just imagine that as a killer monster for pathogens, and it goes about, and it's the big replacer of electrons where they've been stolen, and you've had some oxidation occurred. So, and then you get a little technical about blocking copper to oxidation. You just need to know that it has broad antioxidant activities as I'm talking about the GHK-Copper peptide.
And Jon, I've been taking superoxide dismutase, SOD, orally every single day since 1994. Every single day.
Yeah.
I know because I am an expert in SOD. I've studied it for many decades now. I'm an expert in what it does in terms of turning your oxygen molecules back into oxygen that were free radicals. People are sitting around thinking broccoli's doing it for them. It isn't. It really isn't. Trust me. But SOD, superoxide dismutase, is the content of the EON patch. That's what the EON patch is all about. And so today we don't have time to go into that, but we have lots of, 27 other shows on my Lifewave YouTube channel, one that Jon did that was phenomenal. And all you have to do is watch that. And please continue, Jon.
Okay. Do we have that next slide?
Recording in progress.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the X39 for brain and nerves and the 6-week organ function study right after that.
Awesome. Okay, so this is another of the 6 categories on that Reverse Aging with GHK, Dr. Lauren Picard's website. This is one of the reasons we added them in our protocols, where we help people with brain issues in my practice because of the benefit that you get for the brain by wearing the patch. So you see, anti-pain, anti-anxiety, anti-aggression. We had 2 people come in today, and one of their problems was, I get really angry all of a sudden. I don't even know why, and I get really aggressive. So we help people with that, and the patches are that the X39 is part of that. While we're on the brain, I'll tell you about the brain study. Lifewave did a study. They did EEGs. That's my certification. My board certification is in QEEG, and they measured what's called coherence. Coherence is a measurement of how well the right hemisphere is doing its job independently from the left, because they do different things. Truly, everything we do is processed by the entire brain, but every single thing we do is processed primarily on one side, 80% on the other 20. Like calculations and theoretical thinking, mostly left side, and the same is true for things like social engagement, mostly on the right side. When the brain gets stressed, the right side tries to recruit the left and the left the right. And now you have the entire brain trying to process one thing rather than operating independently. That's called hypercoherence. The more a person has of that, the more autistic they are. So 6 weeks of using the patch, everybody had much better coherence and much less hypercoherence. Another reason why we added them into our protocols. Then you get to the biggie over there on the right, stem cells. So this is what we talk about with the X39. That's only one of the 6 categories of the benefits you get by wearing the patch that elevates your GHK-Copper peptide. So when you're using them, it is faulty thinking and very short-sighted to expect that you're going to feel one specific thing that you had in mind. Like my right toe pain. I've been wearing these for 4 days and my right toe pain didn't go away. It's a little short-sighted to do that because stem cells go where they're most needed, and it might be to regenerate your liver so you can detox and so your right toe doesn't hurt anymore. So I always tell people, consider using them 1 month for every decade of your life to get deep regeneration. And that is shown to be true. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. And people who wear them that long, like, Marci and I, we've seen each other for 2 years now. We know what we used to look like. How short-sighted of me would it have been if I wanted my heart issues to go away in a month, when it actually took 4.5 months, and then longer for that for the right bundle branch. So then you see the stem cells, and then you see additional actions of GHK. How prevalent are gut issues nowadays? Like everybody's got gut issues because we all ate the stupid glyphosate and the GMO foods, the genetically modified, and we have leaky gut. Well,
and just 1 second, Jon, because I guess now you'd like Jeff to put up the slide that's about.
It's already.
Oh, is it right there with that? Okay,
it's
perfect.
On the same page.
My mistake.
That's okay. This is where it talks about healing. So rapid healing of skin, stomach, intestinal lining, bone tissue. Those are things that you oftentimes wouldn't notice that are healing right away. My first things that changed for me at 2.5 months were my gut health. That was the first thing I should say. And it wasn't until 4.5 months that I got some shifts in my heart health. So when you look at this, yes, stem cells can make pain go away by healing the source of the pain, but a lot of other things are happening in a person's body that unless it's something that you noticed before, you're not going to notice right away because there's nothing to use as a measuring stick. How do I measure how much of my body is regenerating right now? It's hard to know, but then you see somebody a year later has been using it and you go, holy cow, Marci, you look 20 years younger.
And on the Lifewave website, there's that 2-week document that you can fill in. Most of the people I've worked with on Lifewave, and most of my clients in my coaching business and mediation business, and most of my friends are using Lifewave patches. So you amazingly forget the things that used to trouble you before you started the patches, unless you write them down. And then what's even more interesting is after years go by, there are things that you didn't even realize were a problem because they weren't a big problem. They were a small problem compared to the crises, right? So I always recommend that everybody that you talk to about Lifewave, you make notes about what's going on for them and ask them to make notes about what's going on for them. And as you speak to them, just point out to them, oh my goodness, so how's your digestion? Or, oh my goodness, how's your breathing? Or, oh my gosh, your hair looks amazing, etc. I actually had somebody who forgot that my hair used to be this short, one of my close friends. And I brought a photo from one of my YouTubes from a couple of years ago where my hair was this long because it was thin. I couldn't have it longer. And I brought a photo of me looking like this to lunch. And what did she do? She bought $700 worth of Lifewave patches on the spot. She said, okay, that's it. I'm tired of my story about why my hair looks like, whatever. So it is a miracle. The things that excite you and me, Jon, where we've had big crises in health, may not be the thing that excites my friend Carol, who just wants better hair.
Yeah, exactly. And you never know what issues are prominent in someone's mind. We face that every day with patients who come in. They come in with such severe anxiety they can't leave their house, and then we help them with that, and then we say, well, how's that anxiety? Oh yeah, it's good. Whereas before they would kill to get rid of their anxiety,
It's so beautiful. And I know what we're going to talk about next is professional and amateur athletes, because this is a huge thing. I mean, every one of us who wants to live longer is either doing a lot of exercise of some sort or knows that's the best plan for us. We haven't gotten there yet. And so let's talk about, this is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And athletes all over the world, professional athletes, amateur athletes are using these patches. I just saw an interview, a former athlete, Dick Butkus, was interviewed, and he was talking about how the patches have changed his life. He has so much chronic pain. You can imagine one of the greatest football players of all time. I watched him play as a young boy, and the dude was an animal. I mean, he hit people really hard. So he was talking about them. One of the most intriguing stories about athletes was with the Olympic team, the U.S. 2004 Olympic team with Michael Phelps. They used the Lifewave patches, and they won a bunch of medals, and they got accused of doping. So they got investigated by the U.S. and World Doping Associations. And they said there's no doping. There's nothing comes from the skin into the body. So you see these athletes, you see the football player in the far right, and he has one in one of the spots. It's 3 finger widths below the belly button. You see the motocross rider, he's got one right in the middle of his forehead on the third eye area. That's probably our Nirvana patch for anxiety riding the motorcycle, right? You see these athletes wearing these patches, and they're just helping their body be the best it can be. It's not anything artificial. It's not giving them anything other than stimulating their body to do the things that help it be and work the healthiest they could possibly be. So that's why they're catching on worldwide, and all you have to do is put something like a Band-Aid on. You don't have to take anything and wait through it to go through digestion and absorption to get out into the skin. Sometimes it's instant. And I ask, they say, how did that happen so quickly? And I say, well, how quickly do you see light in the light bulb when you turn on the light switch? It's instant, because we're talking about frequencies of light. They travel almost the speed of light. They travel really quickly. And so sometimes that's why people talk about things happening so quickly. Do we have another slide with athletes on them, or is that
No, that's it. Because
Okay.
next we're going to have you talk about glutathione, because detoxing as we get older, particularly, or if anyone is healing a condition, symptoms going away, glutathione is one of the keys to it. If you would talk about that, Jon.
Absolutely. And glutathione is a big detoxer. I also want you to get this concept about the battle of oxidation and antioxidation. Everybody knows about antioxidants, right? So what does that mean? Everything our body does is designed to move electrons from one place to the next, store it as ATP so it can be used as our fuel. You know, there's a fuel shortage right now. Well, we have to have fuel as well. And excuse me, we have electrons in every tissue, every cell. They all have electrons. Things like ionizing radiation, a bad diet, stress, they cause what's called oxidative stress. That's when something loses electrons. You have to think of glutathione as the master mothership of electrons. And then vitamin C and vitamin E, they're like the truckers. They go dump some electrons where somebody stole it, and then they can go back to glutathione. Glutathione can recharge vitamin E and vitamin C, so it's not one and done, and it just keeps going back. Well, let's keep doing this all day. So glutathione is your master antioxidant. It's the mothership of electrons, and it can get recharged, and then recharge vitamin C and vitamin E. And this prevents this oxidation and death. You know, the battle between cell dying and not dying, regeneration and reverse aging has to do with this antioxidation. So glutathione is a big molecule. It can remove things and take them out of the body. It can wrap itself around toxins, but it also donates those electrons. So this Dr. Scott says there's an epidemic deficiency of glutathione in patients today. In fact, glutathione deficiency is found in almost all chronically ill patients. So you look at getting more glutathione into the body. A lot of people don't even know what glutathione is because researchers and manufacturers couldn't get it past the acid in the stomach until recently. And so you had to get an IV, and it was very, $125, $150. Most people wouldn't do that. So I asked, have you ever heard of glutathione? And they say, no. Well, now you can get glutathione supplements or the precursor to glutathione. There's a company that makes a sublingual spray. It goes right into your bloodstream under the tongue. They boast about their product raising your glutathione level up to 10% within 8 hours. The glutathione patch signals your body to make more glutathione, and it raises that on average 300% within 24 hours. This is a big deal. The amount of glutathione you have in your cells is directly related to your lifespan. Let me repeat that. The length of your life is dependent upon the amount of glutathione you have in your cells. So how important is glutathione? It's huge for winning the battle of that oxidative stress, cell death, or cells living longer and then regenerating. You can get glutathione from sulfur-rich food, onions, leeks, asparagus. You can get it, and several other foods,
but not much.
Yeah.
But not much. So
Right.
I want everybody to really, dance away from the idea that the grocery store or the health food store is going to make any kind of difference, because I'm here like you, Jon. I eliminated a chronic illness from my life, doing very remarkable things for 40 years. And the most remarkable of all is the fact that I can put on a bunch of patches for 12 hours each day, and without doing anything else, my health is improving and I am turning back the clock, and I feel happier and healthier. And I've done the most remarkable outside the box things. I've spent an enormous amount of money on my health and my lifespan and all that. But here we are with Lifewave. It's affordable for everybody. Anybody has enough energy to put on and take off a bunch of patches, put them on and leave them on for 12 hours and take them off. Maybe everyone doesn't want to use the 10 patches a day or night that I do, but I would say maybe they don't need to. I know I need to. So that's the real question. How healthy do you want to be? How young do you want to look? How great do you want to feel? Jon is telling us why it's real, why it works, why this is not your imagination, why this is absolutely real. The idea that a glutathione problem in your body is linked to every other person with chronic illness who has the same problem, that is mind-blowing, wouldn't you say, Jon?
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
And to be able to, and like you, I grew up with a mom who gave me a whole handful of vitamins, a tablespoon of cod liver oil in her green drink every day. I have had a good diet my whole life, but the shift, and as a practitioner, I could order my own vitamins at wholesale. I had access to all of that. But the shift that occurred over the last 2 years was a bigger health shift that I've had in the previous 66 years. You know, I mean, it just is. And I have people tell me that all the time, that, you know, you look a lot younger. My hair is brown again. It used to be really gray. I mean, there's some big shift. That's not something that I was trying to, you know, accomplish, but my friends started telling me, do you realize your hair is getting brown again? And I go, well, that's cool, but it's how I feel.
But Jon, you understand, I am not a natural blonde.
Yeah.
I'm not a natural blonde. And the problem is I now have to become, you know, blonde every 10 days or 7 days, really. I've got to deal with the fact that my natural color of brown is showing up again, which it hadn't been. So I was able to not bleach my hair for 3 weeks. Now it's really every 7 days. So be aware of that, ladies.
These are new world problems.
But people would die to have these problems, as the saying goes.
Yeah, okay. And the vitality of helping all of your circle, people in your circle, your family, be more productive and have more vitality and maintain their brain function, their cardiovascular function is a huge deal. It decreases all of our Medicare costs the more people we help do that. So and those are things that drive me to keep doing it and telling people and just sharing the patches. I just stay focused on helping people with their health, and then the other benefits follow. You know, the independent, you know, getting time freedom back, getting, you know, opening up a whole new world of you know, everybody works their tail off for achieving, you know, their social security check later on.
I just want to know if you have one more scientific thing you need to tell us for today's show. Is there one more thing, Jon, just briefly, that you really want everybody who's watching to have information about either the X39 or the glutathione that you didn't cover yet? And then I'll wrap up the show because we're running out of time.
Something to remember about the glutathione is that it is also the master immune switch. Fighting infection is very, very important. The glutathione can help detoxing as your body starts to heal and the stem cells go where they need to go and start fixing things. Sometimes you got to tear down old stuff and get rid of it. The glutathione can assist with that, along with drinking lots of water and making sure you're fully mineralized. With that, I think I'll wrap up my time and let you wrap up your show.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, dear Jon. Dr. Harmon, it's just amazing to have you. And after this show, I'm going to schedule you for the next one so you can talk about some of the other patches. I know everybody will be literally, you know, bated breath waiting for you to come back and explain the other ones.
That'll be fun.
For those of you who haven't used the Lifewave patches yet, please be sure to contact your friend who told you about this Zoom so you can purchase them for yourself. You don't want to wait. You don't want to wait. I haven't needed a doctor in 2 years. That's how healthy I am. And I'm older than Jon. So you want to really understand what is possible here. And we do a show once a month. It's always the second Thursday. The next show is June 9th. It always begins at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, and various times in between. And all of our shows, we have 27 shows already archived on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Susan Allan 2001. Remember, that's Allan, Allan. And the show that Jon did for us last year has already had 3,300 views. And you want to watch that show because each time Jon is our guest, he covers different areas of the scientific research and the actual science behind these results. You're not going to get those from the average distributor, even me. You know, my father was a famous surgeon, but I wasn't. So Jon Harmon provides something that every one of us need to understand why this works and how this works. So I send you all my love to each and every one of you. Please send me an email if you have questions, if you need links, and susan@susanallan.org. And you'll have the contact information for Jon Harmon on the previous show and also on the new show, as well as for Marci. So thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.